Hello everyone, it is Janet from Mixed Media Mama. Thank you so much for coming back and welcome all you new members. I so appreciate you for liking and subscribing. And if you haven't done that yet, thanks for just watching. I appreciate that also. Wanted to share something new while I'm working on some ephemera. I thought I would just put it all together in a little double page spread. Now, all of you may know that I am a design team member for David from Elizabeth Craft Design. I am on his art journal team. It is fabulous. There is just so much creativity on that team, as in every one of those teams. They are just some of the best creators. Now, there's a lot of competition, but man, we inspire each other all the time. This layout is from David's latest Remember Moments. I will put all the necessary information down below, what pages, what dies, things like that. But I am going to disassemble it so you can see it because it is so much to look at. I am a scrapbooker first and foremost. I started that a gazillion years. That's really kind of developed over the years. And everything that I make outside of my art, I always say, how can I use that to put pictures? How can I take that and make that into a journal form or a scrapbook form? So everything that I show, I try to show you, is some form, actually an evolution form of scrapbooking. Now, what I am doing now is very much on a smaller scale of scrapbooking. But you know what? I also, as I have developed, I am grown, don't you like my wordage there, developed as I age, as I grown into my own niche and art. And what I really like to do, I always like to inspire others, but I always just love to use the same techniques, but maybe just in a different form, or someone has inspired me and I just decide, you know what, I'm going to use that little thing and give it my own twist. Well, I have packed a lot in here. So I took all of the tags out, and you can see there is quite a pile of tags and cards and places that you can put pictures or mementos or whatever. But let me dissect all of this down. This is a large, extra large page, sorry, brain fart, extra large page. This will go into your extra large journal from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And first and foremost, I'm going to start on the background. It is the stencils. It is this paper, excuse me. This paper is coffee, the coffee dyed papers from David, and it is naturally coffee dyed in his, but I just like to zhuzh it up. I like to Janify it. And so I always add more ink sprays, that type of a thing. So I used, you can kind of see this light grayish right there in the background. I used one of the stencils of the Journal Stencils 4, and it was the squares, rectangles, and I used Lost Shadow, and I put that on the whole back after I had just darkened it a little bit. Then I came with the passport stamps, I believe, and I just stamped the background just a little bit. Let's go right over to this film strip. This film strip is from, like I said, I will put all of that information below. I cut it out into a black cardstock. This film strip and this extra large film strip I cut out of black cardstock, and then I basically just emboss it with black embossing powder. I really wanted to have that shine, and what I did is that while it was still cooling, and it's kind of a matte, it's not a shiny, I took some just basically oxide, black oxide ink or scorched timber, and I just kind of dulled it down. It's not as shiny as this acetate here, and that I wanted to, and I kind of did the same thing. The number 9 is from the stamp set, Wonky letters, and I used the scorched timber glaze on that. But on the film strips, that's what I did. I wanted to kind of emulate a specimen card, but I used the film strip. And this is where you can put a favorite photo or whatever. And then I took a tag, and it comes with a kit. I took a tag and I sliced a little bit off of every side. Let me show you a tag. Here would be the size of a tag from one of his dies, and this is from white paper, so I just use oxide inks there. But you can see that this tag is much bigger than this tag, and you can see I sliced probably a good 1/4 of an inch off of each side. I still wanted to kind of keep the shape of each, because this, and it really doesn't hold much except maybe a little tuck spot for a couple of photos. I just stamped on either one. You can just vaguely see, oops, some background stamps there. I wanted to cover the bottom part of and so I just put a little bit of fiber, a little bit of fabric that I was printed on, and I just tucked it underneath there, just kind of give it a little, you can still see the film strip, but it just kind of gave it a little bit more texture. And underneath the number 9, I'm gonna come up really close. Underneath the number 9, you can see the little bit of scrap fiber there, and I just zigzagged it, and then I glued it on. I am a sewer, as you can see throughout the whole page. I love to sew. It just gives it a little bit different texture. Okay, this piece right here is another page. There again, I just show it comes within the collection of the Remember Moments. It's a shorter page, and actually it can go into the square journal, but I use it quite a bit because I love to have the big pages and the smaller pages. And then I just shortened it a little bit because I wanted to have it as a tuck. And then I just stamped all over, and I embossed stories from the stencil and Journal Stencils 4. And you can kind of see which page it is just from David's collection. It is just such a lovely, this is probably a paper pack I will continue to use, because the color, the coffee dyed, is really within my vintage vibe feel. So that's, and then I just sewed all around it, and I worked with that. The paper behind, this I really was a trial and error. The paper behind is just that same brown craft packing paper that you get in Amazon or your packages, whatever you order. You get this brown brown package paper, and it is such a great texture. So what I did, I just tore off probably about a size of this, maybe a little bit bigger, just a piece. I didn't measure it, I just tore it off. And then I used oxides. There was 3 oxides that I used: Vintage Photo, Lost Shadow, and Scorched Timber. And I just put the Vintage Photo onto my glass mat, sprayed some water, smeared it down, took my I just took that torn piece of packaging, dipped it in, air dried it, or I heat gunned it, and then I went to the next color. And I kept doing that from Vintage Photo to Lost Shadow to Scorched Timber until I got this look. And, this look. And you can see it has a light on brown cardstock or brown paper. That Lost Shadow is a gray, really light gray, but on here it just lightens the brown up, and you can kind of see that. I love that when it is wet. Here it was not wet. I dried it, so it is permanent. This and this is the same color, but it's how I used it. This I applied directly from the ink pad onto the paper, added no water. This I sprayed with water, and it just oxidized it, and it's just lovely. I am going to definitely do that again. So don't throw away your excess paper. Yes, we save a lot, don't we? We are gatherers by name, and I'm very proud of that. So let's go on to the next page. Anyway, I just tucked that right back in down there. I wanted to explain that little process of what I did. There's the big film strip. What I did on that, I just tucked that in, and there the whole film strip, you can only see a little bit up here, but it is a pocket all the way down. I glued all the way down here, the 3 sides, and then I kind of rounded it out. I wanted it to have an ability to tuck either a cardstock or ATC or something in there. So there is a pocket right there, and of course there is a pocket, a full pocket under here, because this piece of oxidized paper, the paper from Amazon, is glued to this short piece right here. So I have 1, 2, and then of course I did not glue this down here. I only glued it right down here. So let's talk about this tag. I used one of the circular dies, and I would consider the circular dies as it's called, I will find out. Around the World, maybe? No, it's not. And this may have come from the collection before that, but I will find out. And yeah, this is the Artist Trading. No, I was right the first time. It came with, I'll find out. Anyway, this actually could be, I made this as an element. It is just a beautiful, it comes into the same set as this. And this was just cut out of craft cardstock, but this was part of David's brown, or his coffee dyed. It is just such a lovely shape. I loved it. And then I just stamped, you can see the grid on the top. I just stamped right on top and just made it as an element. And then within the same die set, I had die cutted the word remember stories. And then I backed that and I embossed it with glaze, Scorched timber glaze. And I cut that, I had that die cutted out of black cardstock. Just added a little bit of fiber and some fragments of thread. I try to keep my thread from my sari silk because it just, and this is a white piece, and I really scrunched it up there, but it really helps to pop out that remember. So there is a area right behind each tag here. So you will have one pocket here, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. You wouldn't think you would get all of that within 2 pages, but you will. So let's start with the big one here. This is just a extra big square. I want to say this is a 3 by 5 because I wanted it to be sticking out the top of my page. And you will see it is cut out, and I used the small photo the negative, you know what I mean. And this piece is from the journal sleeves fillers die, and then I just stamped kindness. You kind of see, you can see a little bit of shimmer of blue there. I have been playing around, especially on the negative. I have been playing around with the Tim Holtz Distress Spritz. I absolutely love sprays. I love any mediums, anything that I can get messy on, and I love just the hint of shimmer there, and that is what I used. I just used the Uncharted Mariner just to kind of give it a little twist of blue. I love that little color there. But anyway, and then of course I sewed a bit. So this goes right behind there, and I let that kindness wind stick out because you can see how much it sticks out on the top. Lovely, that's what I want. Next one is just a ATC card from one of the pages I cut down on. If you purchase the coffee dyed paper pack, on I think 2 or 3 on the back side of of course it's double-sided, that's fabulous, but David was brilliant about putting ATC cards of papers that he's had, and it was just, I use them all the time. So anyway, I cut one of those down, and that goes, actually this one goes in the back because I want to have that little postcard part. I really like that sticking up. So, and it really only stops right there. The next one is just another ATC card, but here I took a little little piece, probably a 1/2 inch piece of black cardstock, and I either stamped or used rub-on, and it feels like I stamped in Lost Shadow across it, and I probably used one of the texture stamps, yes, around the world texture stamps, and, or no, it is the texture stamp, and then I staple it on with some fibers there. I love how that looks. And then of course I just stuck that right there. The next two, I used photos, of course, just to show you that you can incorporate your photos. It's not just all show. You can show a little bit, but I had these photos. Oh, aren't they just cute? I love to shop at antique stores for all kinds of different photos of people. Get, you know, they give away a lot of photos, and antique shops sometimes haven't, otherwise estate sales. And I just had this photo of this little girl in a candy store, and I thought it was just darling. So I cut it down to fit this, and on the back, yep, it is an ATC card. I cut this down, this ATC card down, and I'd say it's probably a 2 by 3.5, maybe a 2 by 3, but it fits perfect right here. She just is looking over. That's just darling. And of course I had to do the same, but before I get to the boy here, back here, this cutout was he was on a piece of the soft cardstock from Elizabeth Craft, and of course I just stamped artist trading card, what you can, you know, write on the back. But this was the insert of one of the frames that I had, so this was kind of a leftover. Of course, you don't even throw this away because it's just perfect. I stamped and embossed using the Glaze. I believe it's a Scorched timber. I stamped in black and quickly embossed it in Scorched timber and placed his photo. Let's see if I can get up kind of closer. Placed his photo and just really cut his photo down. Placed some cheesecloth underneath with a tiny little scrap of fiber right here to just give it a little bit more of fiber, and then added a bit of aluminum, alcohol ink aluminum right there. And I will show you, actually I will pull this one out and tell you a little tip and trick. I eat a lot of yogurt, and those aluminum foil that seals the yogurt, I clean them up and I put them through my embossing folders. Now I have a Tim Holtz embossing folder that has all of the type stamp letters on it. And you can see this one, and so I put it through the embossing folder, and then I put alcohol ink on it. And I use all kinds of different parts of the letters, and it just adds so much. So I sometimes have a hard time throwing things away, but I do. But I also love to reuse, and that is really my whole art, is reuse, repurpose, and restore, because what we throw away could be turned into art. So that is a tip and trick. I hope you have enjoyed this. I sure have enjoyed it showing you, and I hope it has inspired you. Thank you so much. If you have not subscribed, please like and subscribe. I am coming out with tips and tricks and tutorials and how-tos all the time. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and just watching. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.